Well, last question. In an interview that you did, you actually said that you make $1 million a month with no jumper.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. $1 million gross would be a good month. You know, have we done more than that? Yeah. Do we definitely sometimes do months that are lower than that? Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's something that, and especially when you throw Plug Talk in the mix. Okay, now we're talking. I have figured out a lot of different revenue streams stemming from my core business, as I know you have, and you're somebody who's helped put me onto that. I mean, listen, like I got 2 popping Facebook pages right now. I got plans to have like 5 or 6 by the end of the year. There's a lot of fucking ways that you can make money out there, and there's new revenue streams popping up all the time. I had an app hit me up the other day that is fully prepared to pay me, you know, many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to just make some content for this app. There's a lot of fucking opportunities out there. And the reason why I said that, because a lot of people are like, why'd you say that? It's like, motherfucker, I got to listen to Lil Baby and songs talking about making $500,000 a show, et cetera, all the time. Drake, whoever, everybody talking about how much money they got. I went on Graham Stephan's podcast, and he's like a business guy. Like he does real estate. He does all this, you know, kind of stuff. He has a great podcast. Actually, you should go on it. I can hook you up.
Sure.
But one of his big things is that he'll always clickbait with, I'm interviewing the guy who makes $100 million a year. I'm interviewing a guy who makes $1 million a day, whatever. So I was thinking about that the whole time that I'm on the plane going to Vegas and stuff. Is like, what am I going to say? Because I know he's going to try to get actual numbers out of me. And I think that it's kind of important for us to let kids or, you know, younger content creators know that it's like these rappers are not the only ones really making a lot of money off this shit. Like you can make a lot of fucking money off content. And, you know, I don't know if I've ever really seen you or Rack say a dollar amount like that.
No.
So I decided.
Nor will I.
Right.
Nor will I. So if I go on this podcast, so what's the guy's name again?
Graham Stevens.
Graham Stevens. I am not telling you how much I make. I'm not telling you what's in my bank account. I'm not telling you how much I spent on various items. It just is what it is. But then again, you know, that's just me.
I'm sure he could come up with a great title for your interview without that information. I just decided but you know how he's clickbaiting it? Because I see he has a Snapchat show too. So they kind of have to clickbait it in a little bit different way with an even shorter title. And it's like how Adam22 went from Skid Row to $1 million a month. And I'm like, well, I did have a store adjacent to Skid Row for a long time. So that is kind of fair. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to put it out there to be like, hey, being a successful YouTuber is not you making $100,000 a year. There's a lot of different fucking levels.
Well, hold on.
No, yeah, and that's great for sure. Yeah,
actually making $100,000 a year.
You're right.
I don't want to downplay.
Yes,
that
because if you can do that, that's
if you
fucking
can do
amazing.
That, if you could quit your job and make $100,000 a year off YouTube, you are successful. 100%. So I just want to stop you real quick. But
you're 100% right, and you're right. And I should clarify that. Yes. But I also wanted to just say to them that when you look at me, when you look at you, when you look at academics, and honestly, some of the up and coming YouTube channels who really don't appear to me to be building like some huge crazy business, but if they can pop out a lot of viral content in a month, they can have crazy ass months. I've had people show me their fucking YouTube stats that I would have guessed that they were making $5,000 a month, and they show me their YouTube screenshot and it says they made $50,000 that month. And I'm like, bro, I am so fucking happy for you. That's fucking amazing. But also, I you know, part of it wants me to put it out there for the kids to be like, there's a lot of money you can make out here. Like you could really change shit with the money you could be making off of content.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had a company that offered me many, many millions of dollars to essentially, it's a publishing deal, right?
I've heard about this.
You heard about this stuff, right? Where they basically said, okay, we're gonna, you know, take your YouTube revenue of your existing catalog for a certain number of years and give you this big check up front. And the check was big, you know what I mean? But it was like, once we did the math, it's like, well, they're going to take like 25% of the money for taking this upfront check. So when you really, you know, get over the, millions of dollars and all the shit you could buy in your head, like private planes and whatever else, you think like, well, in the long run, I'm actually going to lose money, and I don't actually need this money up front.
Yeah, what am I going to do if somebody gives me $5 million right now or $10 million and they're like, but you're not making any money from YouTube AdSense or all this other stuff. I mean, I get the deal, because if I was somebody who was really in debt, or if I,
it'd be a great deal.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. But
and what's really interesting is that I was working with a guy that was basically helping me navigate this deal. And he actually, you know, he brought a lot of value because he brought in like 3 or 4 other companies to start essentially a bidding war over this situation. And this guy was the head of one of the biggest music publishing companies in the world at one point. He was the president of this company. I'm not going to put his name out there, but at the point where after a few months, I finally said, you know something, we're just going to pass.
Yeah.
And he was like, wow, really? I'm like, yeah, we did the math and we don't need the money. And ultimately, if I needed $10 million, I could get a loan at a much lower rate than this shit.
Oh, well, it
won't be no 25%. You know, I can get a loan at like 5 or 10%
right.
if I really need the money, and I get to keep all my monetization and everything else like that. But I said, you know, let me ask you a question, because he's done hundreds of millions dollars worth of publishing deals with artists. I said, out of all the artists you worked with that have signed these major publishing deals, how many of them have actually walked away from their deals? He said 0. He said nobody ever walks away from these deals.
See, I don't get that.
Ultimately, you know, there may be some back and forth, but ultimately they'll come up with a number and sell their publishing to this company, which will ultimately make a nice profit off of it. And it was like, oh, like we're sort of in a different zone right now where we don't have to take these publishing deals like artists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We could actually keep our shit, make more money, keep all the ownership, not sell anything, whatever. I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's a price for everybody. If someone came in, I've always said this, and people have asked me this question, like, if someone, you know, it's like, how much do you sell Vlad TV for? If someone gave me $100 million,
right,
they could have it. Take it.
Yeah.
I'm cool. 100 million is an amount that's multi-generational. There's no possible way I could spend it all, and I won't have to worry about nothing ever again.
And you know how long you would have to work to make that. So it's like at a certain point, the valuation, if it just gets so high, then you would kind of be an asshole to not because take it, also, well, they're going to make you sign something saying that you can't just clone this business and do your own thing.
And I'll probably have to run it as an employee for a certain amount of time.